I'm Kelvin Hepner for RealAgriculture at Manitoba Ag Days, and we're joined now by Eldon Obach of Feed Works, based at Wawanesa, Manitoba. And Eldon, what's this big orange machine behind us?
What we have there is a boomerang chaff cart. It's a Canadian-built offshoot of an Australian design. Our prime emphasis is on collecting chaff, which is a byproduct to use as livestock feed. I think the first chaff cart came out the year after the first combine was built. If you go back to threshing machines, chaff was in the residue pile along with the straw, and people used it for feed. The combine changed everything and it left it in the field, and people realized that there was feed that they were losing. As combines grew and other things changed, people quit collecting chaff. The last machines on the market were about 2,000, and they were more or less reinvented in Australia as a weed control process, and I've taken the Australian design and adapted it, built it in Canada and adapted it more for using to generate chaff for livestock feed.
So how does it actually work in the field in terms of operation?
It's driven off your combine's hydraulics. It doesn't draw enough power to really significantly notice your performance in the field. You have a control panel in the combine that monitors the operation of the cart, and it controls how we unload the chaff. There's a sensor that'll tell us when the tank is full. You can either let that automatically trigger the unload, or you can use it as a signal that it's ready to unload. And then usually people will line it up with other chaff heaps and drop them all in a row, so it's easier to collect them or easier to fence them if they're going to graze.
So you leave them in a pile in the field and then come back and get it, or like you said, bring the animals to it?
Exactly. It depends on your situation. You go to southern Alberta, western Saskatchewan, they typically graze as much as they can, but they don't get the winters that we get in Manitoba. In Manitoba, people want to collect the chaff and get it usually next to their silage heap, so that when they're feeding, they got their chaff and their silage together, and it makes for very efficient feeding.
That weed seed reason that they've been moving towards this, or some farmers have been using this in Australia, does that apply in Canada as well?
Unfortunately, it does. One of the people we were at this fall with it had resistant wild millet, and we collected chaff there. You could reach a hand into the pile of chaff and you would have 20 or 30 wild millet seeds in every handful. And wild resistant weeds are only going to get worse.
How long have you been building this here in Canada, Eldon?
We started the project, the research, in 2018. We built our first machine in 19, and we're in the process of putting together another run this year of a new, bigger version of the one that's behind us.
Okay. In terms of size, how do you measure it, or what would this one be rated at versus the new one?
This one, Model 18, stands for 18 cubic meters, which is about 600 cubic feet. The one we're looking at this year will be, I'm going to say, around 30. We haven't quite finalized the shape of the back door, and that'll affect the volume, but around 1,000 cubic feet, which is 2 to 2.5 tons per load.
Okay. And like you said, that runs off of the combine's hydraulic pump system?
Yeah, we need about 8 gallons of hydraulic flow to run our conveyor, and we use the same circuit to run the cylinders that unload the door.
Okay. What's the plan in terms of bringing it to market? Is it direct sales at this point?
So far, we're direct sales. I have a representative in southern Alberta that's also working with me that's trying to get things established there. Basically, right now, when you deal with one, you're dealing with me, the guy, and in Australia, somebody wants a chaff cart, they phone them up and they put it on a truck and ship it, and the farmer's on his own. Here, every single one, I'm not done until I've got it hooked to his combine, running, trained, and everything ready to work, and so far we can keep up with that. We're developing more expertise. We've worked with more different varieties of combines. We've got a better handle on everything we need to know. Some combines, if you want to put a cart on it, I can show up with everything I need and be out of your yard in a day and you're ready to go to the field. Other ones take a little bit more trial and error. So.
What about crop types? Are there differences there in terms of how well it works?
I haven't noticed anything. The bigger difference is some crops are more useful as feed than others. Like wheat produces a lot of chaff, but it's relatively low grade. Oats and barley are great. Peas are great. Lentils, which they grow a lot of in western Saskatchewan, are candy as far as the cows are concerned. And that's another thing with this design, we have the option of collecting the chaff or the chaff and the straw. And when you get into lower crops like peas and things that don't have as much residue, collecting the straw with the chaff is very beneficial.
Okay. So how does that system work that you can choose whether you're taking it in or not, the straw?
Yeah, it's just how you set your combine up. The same as if you were dropping straw, the conveyor has enough capacity to take everything. The other thing which we've had to develop is for people that want to collect the chaff and put their straw in a windrow so that they can bale it. We've built a conveyor that straddles the main conveyor that the straw lands on and gets kicked off to the side so that you can make a baleable windrow. And that's one that it really depends more on the combine. There are some combines that we literally won't be able to bale straw with. But we've done it on Case and New Holland and even the rotary John Deeres, we've been able to bale off them. But some of the earlier machines, when they when they dropped the straw, they dropped it right where the chaff was, and there was no way of separating the streams.
Thanks for your time, Eldon.
Great, yeah, thanks, and appreciate the chance to talk with you today.